Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video, where we'll be discussing the topic of whether or not the United States is going to default on its debt. The US has the largest economy in the world, and its government's debt has been growing steadily for decades. So, is the US headed towards a debt crisis? Let's find out. Firstly, let's define what we mean by defaulting on its debt. When a country defaults, it means that it fails to pay back its creditors the interest or principal owed on its debts. The US has never officially defaulted on its debt, but it has come close a few times. For example, in 2011, the US government almost defaulted on its debt when Congress failed to raise the debt ceiling in a timely manner. Currently, the US government's debt limit is suspended until December 2022. If Congress fails to raise or suspend the debt ceiling by then, the U.S. government could potentially default on its debt obligations. However, it's important to note that the U.S. government has always found a way to avoid defaulting on its debt in the past. For example, in 2011, the Treasury used accounting tricks to delay payments and keep the government running without defaulting. So, why is the U.S. government's debt so high? Well, one reason is that the government has been spending more money than it takes in through taxes for decades. This has led to a growing national debt, which is currently over $28 trillion. Additionally, the COVID-19 pandemic has led to increased government spending on stimulus packages and other measures to support the economy, which has further increased the debt. But is all this debt a problem? Some economists argue that as long as the government can continue to pay its debt obligations, the debt is not a major concern. However, others worry that the growing debt could lead to a debt crisis that could harm the economy and financial markets. So, what are the risks of a U.S. debt crisis? One potential risk is that if the U.S. were to default on its debt, it could cause a global financial crisis. The US dollar is the world's reserve currency, and a default could lead to a loss of confidence in the dollar and could even trigger a global recession. Another risk is that the US government may be forced to cut spending or raise taxes to reduce the debt, which could hurt the economy in the short term. Additionally, the US government's interest payments on the debt are already significant, and if interest rates were to rise, those payments could become even more burdensome. So, what can be done to address the U.S. government's debt problem? One solution is to reduce government spending and increase taxes to reduce the deficit. However, this can be politically difficult, as both spending cuts and tax increases are unpopular with voters. Another solution is to promote economic growth, which could increase government revenue and reduce the deficit. This could be achieved through measures such as investing in infrastructure, education, and research and development. In conclusion, the question of whether or not the United States is going to default on its debt is a complex and multifaceted issue. While the U.S. has never officially defaulted on its debt, there are risks associated with the growing national debt. Ultimately, it will be up to policymakers to make difficult choices about how to address the U.S. government's debt problem and ensure the country's long-term economic stability. Thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe for more content like this.